50 million shares, equivalent to about 20% of the company. So it's important to note that these deals were not done with cash. 2015, the South African Rugby Union announced that Steinhoff would become the main sponsor of the Springbok men's and women's rugby sevens team. Marcus Jooste always wanted to be a part of the Stellenbosch set and realized the path to the affluence in Stellenbosch was through rugby. They had already been sponsoring Stellenbosch rugby since 2006, sponsoring the Stellenbosch University rugby team. Marcus Jooste would shortly move the company's headquarters from Johannesburg to Stellenbosch. And then the Steinhoff money started talking. Fancy cars started coming and going to and from the company's head office. Employees snapped up luxury properties in Dozals, an exclusive golf estate just outside the town. And Marcus Jooste and his friends even bought a farm in the Jonkershoek Valley. During the 2015 Rugby World Cup in London, Steinhoff took a large party. Some say 60 people, others put the number at close to 100. To London for 3 weeks to attend the tournament. Entertaining guests in style with first-class tickets to London and back, hospitality boxes at the matches, being put up in the 5-star Mayfair Hotel, and a helicopter was put at their disposal to make travel in and out of the city easier. They balled so hard on this trip it apparently cost Steinhoff shareholders in the region of 84 million rands. November 2015, just after this lavish trip to London, German police and prosecutors raided the Steinhoff premises in Germany. Investigators told the German media that Steinhoff was involved in balance sheet fraud to the tune of several hundred million euros. It also said that the company massively overstated sales numbers for years, which had the effect of making the company seem more valuable than it actually was. Steinhoff was somehow even paying less tax than other major businesses in South Africa. In 2013-14, Steinhoff paid just 1.3 billion rands in tax, or 8.1% of its 16.6 billion rands profit that year. Christovasius Pepco paid 1 billion rands in taxes, but get this, its profit was only just 3.3 billion, so that's about 30% of its profit. Imagine, your company makes a whole 3 billion rands and SARS just come through and yeah, we'll take 1 billion of that. Standard Bank paid 23.5% in direct taxes, MTN about 26%, and Richemont 21%. It's unclear how Steinhoff were doing this, but it seems they have found loopholes to take advantage of tax incentives legally. In late 2017, German trade publication Manager Magazine dropped a bombshell. It claimed that the Jooste Steinhoff empire was built on quicksand. It alleged the company's balance sheets were inflated. It claimed these transactions amounted to hundreds of millions of euros. The scoop sent shockwaves through the industry. Marcus Jooste was also one of the country's biggest owner of racehorses and invested millions of rands in the sport. He even had his own horse farm and his horses competed all over the world. Jooste's big break in the sport was when his racehorse became a national champion and horse racing became a big business for him. He would form the company Mayfair Speculators to manage all his racehorse interests. The company would be run by his son-in-law, Stefan Potgieter. Jooste was without a doubt the biggest spender in South African horse racing, dropping a cool 6 million rand for a horse in 2016. Mayfair Speculators paid millions snapping up horses in France and elsewhere, and even going into partnership with horse farms and owners in the US, China and the Middle East. But there have been chats about Marcus Jooste's stranglehold on the industry and his mafia style of doing business. News 24 reported in 2018 that the company behind one of the biggest racehorse auctions in the country, Cape Thoroughbred Sales, the biggest seller of horses, Cloverleigh, which is Marcus Jooste's horse farm, and the biggest buyer, Mayfair Speculators, were all essentially the same people, with Marcus Jooste basically controlling the entire value chain of horse racing. Some say he had spent 110 million in Australia on horses, and others say that he splashed out 180 million in 1 year. The numbers are just mind-boggling. And if you look at the financials and see what he earned as Steinhoff CEO, it just didn't make sense. In 2016, Steinhoff bought Mattress Firm for $3.8 billion. And this deal raised eyebrows amongst analysts because Steinhoff paid more than double of what Mattress Firm was worth, guys. And this company was over $1 billion in debt, and Steinhoff spent just 5 days doing due diligence before buying this company. So inevitably, December 2017, it all comes crashing down for Steinhoff. 3 December 2017, a few days before Steinhoff Africa was due to announce its financial results, one of Steinhoff's executives, Ben Lagrange, was called to Steinhoff's head office by the chairperson of the board's Audit and Risk Committee. Major accounting firm Deloitte was refusing to sign off on the company's financial statements, expressing concerns of possible fraud. Only one person could really answer for all of this, and it was CEO Marcus Jooste. He had been asked to come to the office and explain the alleged irregularities identified in the Deloitte report. Jooste landed in Cape Town in Steinhoff's G550 private jet, but never pitched up to the office as requested. That's when Steinhoff executives realized there was something wrong. For December 2017, Steinhoff issued a statement on the JSE's news service saying it would not be releasing financial statements as planned, but would instead release its numbers in unaudited form. The statement didn't reveal too much, but it definitely raised red flags among Steinhoff stakeholders and business analysts. Same day, Jooste sends an SMS to members of the company's supervisory board. The message allegedly contained the words "goodbye" and "I'm sorry." The game was now up. He would send a second SMS to Christoph Weiss, stating his intentions to resign as Steinhoff boss. Next day, 5 December, Steinhoff employees opened their inbox to see an email from Jooste, pretty much apologizing to them for the mess he had put the company in, as well as to clear his closest associates of any wrongdoing. Ben Lagrange and Danny van der Merwe, members of the board, Stefan Grobler, executive for Treasury and Finance, and Marisa Nel, executive for IT and HR. Lagrange would later be suspended and Grobler alongside him, while Marisa Nel would resign and van der Merwe became interim CEO, but would also later resign. Christoph Weiss would plead with Marcus Jooste to come back and at least help the company make sense of all the madness, but it was clear Marcus Jooste had no intention of returning. By the end of 5 December, Steinhoff's price had fallen by 18% from 55 Rand per share to 45 Rand per share. And later that evening, at about 10:45 p.m., after the close of markets in Johannesburg, Steinhoff announced that Marcus Jooste has resigned and that Christoph Weiss would temporarily fill his shoes as executive chairperson, but he would also resign about a year later. In addition, the company announced that auditors PwC had been retained to conduct a full investigation into accounting irregularities identified